Me too, and welcome. Say hello in the chat if you can hear us. Hopefully all technologically things are good. My speech is not today, is it, Jan? My speech today has been brilliant.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I want to read what you sent me this morning.
I was excited and my hands couldn't keep
Is
up.
that what you were? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you remember who to? That's what I struggle with. I'll be way awesome I got it. Now how the hell do I do it?
Bearing in mind, what was this, 11 a.m. or something?
I'm like, how much have you been drinking?
How much coffee does Mikey not have?
Right. Laura can hear us. Hello, Laura.
Hello.
Okay. So yeah. Hello, Mikey. How are you today?
I'm good. I think before we get into Magracer, we should do a quick Canopy Games Q&A as well.
Ooh.
Well, not a Q&A, just more of an update of where we are with everything.
Suffolk.
Lincolnshire.
Good talking.
So, on the broader Canopy Games stuff at the moment, Arda, the last section is now indeed done.
Oh, well done.
It won't be live just yet. It's in editing. So hopefully, if nothing is wrong with it, by the end of this week, we should start seeing the final bits of Arda coming out. That's for the Godot Getaway course. And if you're waiting for it to come out, it will be available immediately on Canopy once that's done, on the Canopy Games website. And Jan will type that in the chat.
Yeah, I will.
And then remember the www, otherwise it won't go there. And then on Udemy, if you're waiting for it to come out on Udemy, it will take a while for them to process. They've been incredibly slow recently. So that's what's going on that front. On Jan's front, he's been working a lot on the Godot Magracer game. And we'll go into that in more depth in a few moments. Other news. Now, some of you may know Penny DeBill. Mm-hmm. I will be doing a course alongside her very shortly. Yes, it's official. So that should be live towards the end of October, touch wood, mid-November, something along those lines. And that's going to be on procedural generation. It will be in Unity, but that's procedural maze and dungeon generation. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'll be doing the modelling, making sure the pieces fit together in a modular way, and Penny will be focused on the coding and pathfinding through that maze as well. And fingers crossed, I will be talking to her about potential ports of that as well over onto perhaps Godot. So we could see a very similar thing over in Godot, and maybe even Unreal as well. But that is lofty thinking, so that's to be confirmed.
That is lofty thinking. Yeah, we've been sitting on that for a while. It's very exciting. And Penny does great tutorials. So, yeah. Congratulations, Mikey.
Well, thank you.
So, thanks for joining us, everybody. No, we've got lots to talk about. We now have... Still got some bugs in it, but we now have a game with gameplay. And the gameplay.
Yes, there's laps.
Which one of us is going to show it?
I think you should show it. Unless it does that horrible thing again where it goes all distorted. Well, but there's not any music in the game yet. While you're loading the game up and get it sorted your end. Yeah. I recently, bit of a segue, and then back into the game, I have been setting up my music production PC over in the music room in my house. So hopefully in the next coming couple of weeks we'll also get some proper music into the game as well. I've already done one brief track that you may have heard in the past. Oh, we're live over at Jan. Here we go. So a lot has changed.
Now, Mikey, on my machine, you are going very wibbly wobbly in and out, underwatery. Can everyone hear Mikey okay?
Wibbly wobbly watery.
So here we go. We now have proper random selection of the teams. So right now we have 3 NPCs, and they're all going to pick a random team. So we have Team Worm, we have Team Rose, we have Beowulf, and we have Daedalus. One thing we have done, I have changed the rails, and when you're moving, they look nice and smooth. When we get too close to them, they don't really work. And that's because of the way these textures are being applied. We might be able to fix that with a shader, but in motion they look great. So, first off, in the top right corner, you see we have a placement. If I switch the AI back on, and then off again, I am now in 4th place on lap 0.
Whoosh.
And I'm on lap 1, and I'm in 1st place. We also have these pickups on these little standy things. And if I look at it and wait 30 seconds, it will come back. In fact, let's do it this way. Oh, no. Stop it, Yan.
What are you doing, Yan? What are you doing?
I'm skidding around corners. It's fine. Everything is fine.
Are you going to set off the shield recharge effect?
In a minute.
Oh,
Certainly
I
am,
want to
because I'm very
sit
proud
now.
of it. And where's my thing? Come back. Okay, well, that's not coming back. I don't know why not. Oh, there it goes.
There it is.
Okay, we have mines that look like mines, and they do damage.
So just above the speedo there, you can see the shield or the hull strength has been reduced. Let's recharge it.
I mean, I'm a bit proud of that. If you take any damage while that's on, it'll switch off. So, you know, using it when you're in danger is a problem. We also have this little gantry here. This little gantry is a checkpoint. Checkpoint does 2 things. 1, if I die now, I will respawn at that checkpoint. 2, I need to go through the checkpoints in order or I can't go through the lap. Right? This is to stop you from going backwards on the track and then just going back and forth and winning the race that way. So it's just a simple little thing. So we have some fancy looking sidey bits. We have weapons that look pretty. I want to put some more weapons in. I think maybe 1 or 2 more weapons just to get us to the Kickstarter, which should be quite soon. I've got a poster in game. Just getting some lore in. This gantry keeps going in the wrong direction. I don't know why. I'll fix that. The gantries are being generated at runtime, so I'm telling it how many I want, and it's splitting them along the track. So right now we have 3, and it's just saying, okay, split the track in 3 and then put them in. There's the statue of Maddie. Hello, Maddie. And as you can see, it's starting to look like a real game. Like, we have a sense of speed. We have that lovely camera thing, so you can see us coming in. I kind of at the beginning. I still don't have Mikey's fancy assets in game because we had some problems with that on my end.
So on the thing that had changed, one of the things that I really noticed when I first opened this up prior to this stream today was the fact that the shield wall, you know, the barrier that prevents you going off the track, looks so much better with the texture on it. And Jan had also changed some of the screen space reflection quality.
Yes. So it's now much higher quality, so you can actually see the reflection of the chevrons, and the lights kick in when you get close enough, but you can actually see them put in. I did have refraction on the side walls, but I took it off because it was actually glitching out. Like around here, the letters HSC would sort of warp out, which was not good at all. I'm actually just doing this so I can show you the final lap, which is going to come in a minute. Can you hear
one of the other things, that screen, because we've got a bug with the AI at the moment that can cause a crash, that's why we've got the other ships off at the moment. But the screen that we're coming around, we have had, and it's a shame we didn't have screen recording software running at the time, but if you've got the other AI racers coming around this corner, I think it's this one, isn't it, with the screen?
Yep. And you see all the trails.
It looks awesome with all of the trails.
And I reckon we'll be able to get 8 or 12 races in this game without too much of a slowdown. Like the way the AI is done, I think it'd be pretty good. I need to make the shockwave look a bit prettier.
Yeah. And just so people know, the jerkiness is caused by Jan streaming to me rather than the actual game.
I'm running this at a smooth 60 frames a second.
Yeah.
You know what I'll do? As we come up to the final lap, let's see how long we can go before the maths bug kicks in.
Okay, that sounds awesome. So Jan's going to show off his skills here.
Ow!
I do love the fact you can pass under, over, and around.
I'm actually taking damage doing that. I regret all the things! There we go. Maths is Nan. Hi, Nan.
It just closes the stream RN, so it looks like an explosion. If only I had some screen effects ready to go. Could have been awesome.
Oh, I didn't show the explosions. Can I show the explosions?
Yeah, go on then. Hands up who likes explosions. Yep, I win.
All right. I'm going to stick with Team Firm.
Yep.
Because green dragons.
3,
2, 1.
Okay, switch you guys off, and I'm just going to force an explosion. So first thing, these mines each have a node called explosion on it.
Oh no, the screen's got all pixelated. Come on, stream, come back.
Come back. All right, so what's going to happen is they all have a node in them called explode. And that's got an export variable, a little setting, and I tell it the energy of the explosion. That's going to give it both the distance and the power of that explosion. Anything that can take damage within there is going to then take damage. Mines can explode. So if a mine explodes, it'll explode all the other mines, which means this happens. Oops, if I hit them. Ah! I'm too good at avoiding mines.
That was pretty impressive.
Right, so they've all hit, and I'm now at, what am I at? 50%, right? So, boop. I'm just going to ram some walls. Oh, wait, I've got a boost, that'll help. Hit the walls really fast! Bap! 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 You have to say bap. Bap! Alright.
There we go.
So what's happening is... And I'm respawning at the last place. Great.
So those checkpoints are really useful. Before, we were just respawning at the beginning of the entire track. Not much fun to play with if you accidentally kill yourself halfway around.
So, what's happening here is the players all have an explosion module in. Which means if you are next to a player when it explodes, you will take damage. So there's a whole gameplay mechanic of when do I want to attack another player, or do I want to be hugging the wall. What I'd like to do is get some visual representation of how strong their shield is, so you can start making that decision.
Yes.
Because
how we would do that.
If you're racing an NPC,
HUD.
It might be a HUD. It might just be. We could do it with diegetic menus as well. If I'm next to an NPC who's at 10% health, I really need to keep my distance.
Yes.
Because
if
that
they
explosion is
explode,
going to take me out. Unless I have a shield recharge. So there's a whole bunch of gameplay mechanics we now put in. So we actually have core gameplay loops. And there's Jelly. Hi, Jelly. And there's Jessica. Hi, Jessica. So we're at a stage now where the game actually has some core gameplay loops. We need to fix that maths is nan bug. I want to know when my nan is coming around. Somewhere we think we have a divide by 0. We just haven't figured out where it is yet.
a good old AI code.
I did strip out a bunch of zombie code, which is one of my favorite expressions in coding.
It's there, but it does nothing.
It just, yeah.
It's there to cause bugs if you're not careful. That's the main thing.
Which might be what's happening. I don't know. So yeah. Meanwhile, we've been looking at other ships' designs, which you've probably seen from the thumbnail. Mike,
yes.
would you like to take us through your concepts?
I would love to. So I'm going to bring up Blender. I'll bring up the concept art to begin with, as that is going to be more indicative of what's going on. This is a folder of artwork that's been stretched back for quite some time. When Blender does eventually open, there we go.
I'm just seeing a grey screen on. But...
yeah, that's Blender trying to open. So there's been a couple of things. Here we go. Here's the thumbnail. My computer's been on a go slow recently, so we've got a couple of different variations on a theme at the moment. So a couple of these are right way back. They haven't really been altered. So we've got the one in the lower right, the red one here. That is one of the original concepts. And this sort of blue teardrop one in the top left. And then this is the yellow one up here is a modified one of what Jan's already made for the game, just with a bit more detailing. And this isn't going to be like the style of the game, the aesthetic of the game. It's just me playing in Blender with some of the settings just for fun. And then we have a sort of a Delta Mark II, this pink one, purpley one in the lower left. Now, that's actually considerably different on the underside. We'll have a look at that in a moment. And the green one in the middle is kind of inspired by Battlestar Galactica's Viper. So just without all the extra bits at the back. Let's have a look at Blender itself. So we want to go into Delta V2, I think. That's where I dumped all of the extra ships so I could play with them and see. Okay, so yeah, so here we go. Here are the all the ships together. Just letting the shaders compile and come in. So yeah, there are quite a few different ships I can just quickly show you around at the moment. They're all very simple and straightforward. We're really at the concepting stage at the moment. And you can see that they've all got different profiles. I think that's kind of important.
Yes.
And I like this one with the big open mouth. We were talking just before the stream saying that perhaps here, because it's supposed to be based upon the yellow one here, the original Delta craft, so why not have this winglet at the back actually come all the way forward, perhaps join at the top here, or even shift it up a little bit higher. We think we can have loads of fun with this blue one in terms of animating the... What should we call them? The engine pods? These engine pods around the side.
The little army things. So, there's a few things we're thinking about. We want to give these animation bones and rig them, and what that means is when I'm turning left, I should be able to see the actual model turning. So on some craft, it's going to be some flaps turning, and you turn.
Yeah, some of them are more like an aircraft would be. So the red one down here, for instance, I don't think this one's rigged at all or anything along those lines.
Yeah.
But feasibly, you'd grab this area here, and does it have a local axis? Yes, we could animate it by twisting the flap or aerial on or whatever it is, winglet up and down.
But with a teardrop, we have this very experimental looking craft, right? And it's clearly got these weird hovery bits outside. So there's something interesting going on there. And what we were thinking is first we can have the actual pods, the actual arms, whatever they're called, move separately to the craft, right? So when you're boosting, for example, they could go into the craft, or when you're turning, they could turn separately, or some will go in and some will go out. And the other thing we thought is if we give it a spine as opposed to a single bone, we could actually have them articulating and moving in a sort of sinuous pattern and make it almost squid-like.
Which should be pretty awesome. It's almost Matrix-like in its...
Except good. Because I don't like that movie.
Pink one. Of course, Jelly likes the pink one. I thought it looked like a shark. One of the renders I shared the other day.
I thought it looked like a shark. We were saying hammerhead just before the stream.
Yeah. So perhaps move the winglets to the front and just call it the hammerhead.
You know what else is going to do that? Give it a central strake.
Yeah. And a fin.
Oh, that's what the central strake was.
Look, there's no engine at the back. Quick. That's definitely going to lose the race.
Yep. So Jelly likes the pink one. Okay, we should talk about customization in that case, because unless we hit the stretch goal for modular customization, there's two things that's going to happen here, right? We have all of these different... brain isn't working. Hulls. We have all these different hulls.
Yeah.
So what I can do is just change the game and say, okay, instead of using this one mesh, here is a class called hull. And the hull has a mesh instance, it has a name, and it has a directory it's pointing to. And in that directory are all of the materials for that hull. So what we could do is just say, okay, you unlock a hull, and now you can access all the teams. With a little bit more work, I could change the way my file grabber script works. So you can unlock teams and you can unlock hulls, which means we're going to have to put in some more tracks and a campaign mode and all the rest of it. But that's actually much easier. The way we've made the game, all we need to do is just draw a new track, wait for it to catch up with us, and it'll generate the track, it'll generate the walls, and we put in some buildings and some pickups and we're done. Right, and a finish line. That should be reasonably easy. We're almost at the stage where the engine will say, you need to add these following things before I consider this a level.
So at the moment, we haven't gone for modular craft. We are more experimenting with different shapes to see just the silhouettes and how things are when you're playing the game. Because obviously, from most of the game, you're going to be looking from the back of the ship, whether it's this one or this one, whatever. So, and then when you're turning, you never really see the front of the craft. So that's something to...
Well, unless you do, when you spin out or on a particularly hard corner. The way the camera works, if you're turning more than 90 degrees, you will see the front of the craft. Sorry. jelly shop.
Do 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 do.
That's what was happening in chat.
Oh dear. So yeah, we at the moment we've got more different craft than building them up from modular pieces. One of the stretch goals that we were thinking of course these are all to be confirmed and everything else, would be along the lines of, if it turns out to be incredibly popular, how can we take one of these ships, break it down into its component parts so that you in-game could build it and still have a coherent ship? That's going to be the challenge on that one, because if I like grab the squid-like things from here, I can't just attach it to another hull and it makes sense.
And if we're then talking about how they animate and all the rest of it, now we have to be very careful about how we put the script together and the animations together and the logic together, because otherwise
totally,
it's just static images. Or we design 5 types of thrusters that all have their own graphics and the rest of it for each of them.
You could probably have some crossover. I mean, that's one of the things. When you do this type of design, you very quickly run into the thing, well, actually, these wouldn't look like this in this particular state. You'd have thrusters on the end points around here, and they would all conform to a certain style rather than have a bespoke style. But you can still mix and match. I mean, Lego is a great example of you can make so much from it, providing there's a style coherency between all the different pieces.
Yeah.
I'm going to make us full screen again for a moment.
So that's something we've been working on or talking about. My next... Well, there's a few different things I want to do. I want to put the mines in as a weapon.
Yeah.
I'm thinking...
So you can drop them?
Yep. Some sort of front-facing weapon. So a cannon or a pulse beam, something you can actually fire forwards. I want it to not be too fast, so it's not just an instant zap thing in front of you, because that's no fun from a gameplay point of view. I also want to slow down the shockwave. Right now, you hit shockwave, anyone who's close to you just gets hit. Like, there's no warning, there's no way you can react. There's a 1 in 3 chance that pick up as a shockwave, and you're just going to take damage, which is nonsense. I almost swore. I know we have a child watching. Hello, child.
Me?
Yeah, it's you, Mikey. Squidcraft. I do want to make... I'm thinking of making the front-firing thing a rocket. Simply because then I can put an explosion module on it, because one of the things we realized with the shockwave is you can use it to clear mines. Because they react to explosions. The shockwave is an explosion. Which means, if a rocket's coming towards you, as long as the shockwave has a larger radius than the energy of the rocket, if you know it's coming, you can knock it out the sky.
That's pretty awesome. So
there's all this emergent gameplay coming in.
Can I put a vote in for a weapon? A thin laser beam. It starts as a thin laser beam, and it just widens to a giant pulse, and then so you got like a guide, so the person who you're firing at can see you're about to hit them. Starts off as a guide laser, and then a big pulse goes along afterwards. I can see that being shiny as it lights up the map around.
And I want to make some sound effects for that kind of build-up sound as well, for both shockwave and that kind of pulse. I also need to start making sound effects for the engines, because right now I'm using engine sounds I bought, but I can't distribute those. We have footage of Mikey doing that when I'm talking about, can you make me a sound effect for an engine? He goes...
Hello, Jetsons.
Why am I the grown-up? Play with my dragon. So there's a few things I want to do with that. And I also want to put in this idea of unlocking things, right? So right now, when you get to the end of the game will just freeze and report this racer as won. Fine.
Yeah.
I want an actual game state where it brings you back to the level, some sort of level selection and everything else. Pew,
maybe
pew,
even a podium
pew,
as well. That would be...
Pew for the guns.
Pew, pew, pew.
Thank you, Jelly. Your suggestion has been taken on board. I will be throwing it overboard the moment I leave port. But... yeah, I mean, if you guys want the and the pew 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 pew,
it can be an unlock,
or put it in one of the tracks.
Yeah.
One of my favorite music tracks from
I love it.
Payday 2, which is a great game. Like, buggy is all poop, but great game. There's one of the music tracks is a drum and bass song with samples from the game, and it's just amazing. So we could do that.
I like that.
So yeah, there's a few things I want to do with that. I want to put it as an unlock system. I think
My neighbours are going to be wondering what I'm doing.
I mean,
Sat there in the music room, go pew pew.
I think you should say it. Pew pew, a pew pew, a pew pew, a pew pew.
Oh dear.
So back when I was living in the States and being a professor, I'd get bored occasionally, and just halfway through the lecture would start serenading the students with things like, "My lip gloss be popping, my lip gloss be cool. What you know about me? What you know about me?
Just to see if any of them were still awake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours." So there's a bunch of
Moving
things I want to
swiftly
add
on.
in. I've been sent an IM. You could do pew pew in a French accent. I actually don't
How
know
does
how
that
to do
go?
that. Weirdly, I can't do a French accent in English very well. I can do a French accent in French. Le pew pew, à pew pew, à pew pew, à pew pew.
I'm trying to remain quiet and try not to laugh, so I can just take the recording later on and use it.
Just ask, mate. I mean, clearly I don't have that much pride. I keep playing with dragons and toucans and things.
Ah, fair
I
enough.
don't need nobody, don't need no one, that's no good for me. Sometimes we have Prodigy moments. We should do the album. So yeah, a bunch of things we want to put in, including various tracks and track unlocks and all the rest of it. Like, I want to put a progression system in game. The bare bones is in there. The game is already tracking things like what's the last team you picked, what's your sound settings.
So I think now would be a good time to go over what's definitely coming up.
Yeah.
What would be part of the main, sort of like the main Kickstarter as we approach it. I know for certain the OST, the soundtrack itself will be there. That's not an issue at all.
Yes. There was a thing we were talking about with a stretch goal. That's what that was.
Yeah. But that's the thing. We've got lots of ideas. Essentially, this is going to be a course in Godot, primarily with assets provided for you. In this case, it's not necessarily going to be a trio or a duo of courses like Godot Getaway was.
Well, I tell you what. I don't have the document in front of me, but I remember the stuff. But let's start with what happens if we don't fund. If we don't fund, this is going to be a much, much simpler course with how to make a racing game using a magnetic field simulation, right?
Yeah.
And it's just going to be very, very simple. Here's a couple of assets. Here's how you can draw a track. Here's how you can magnetize it. Here's how you simulate a magnetic field and repulsion. Here's how you do thrust. Here's your course, right?
Yeah.
A few hours long.
Would it be fair to call it more of a tech demo rather than a game?
Yeah. We're going to be putting in the gameplay and the unlocks and the weapon systems and all that business. It'll be just like, here's this thing that people don't know how to do with rigid bodies. Let's look at how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be absolutely foolish of us to have already devoted the time we have done already and not... I've seen that myself.
So for those who didn't do Food Fight, I recorded a very professional sound effect for that, which was, "Oh no!" when you hit civilians and they just flew off in the distance. So yeah,
that could feature.
That could definitely feature. We did talk about. I briefly had a dude in the middle of the track, and when I started doing the shockwave, I gave him physics. So when you hit him, he just flew off. Mikey was talking about doing that in the stands. Anyway, let's say we hit our base level, but we don't get any stretch goals. And our base level is not inconsiderable. We're not going to talk about prices today. But it is actually properly priced, because we're going to need myself, Mikey, and Bastion spending time getting this research and getting all the bugs out and getting the curriculum ready and actually recording the thing, right? We're taking time to record this properly. So, this doesn't come in a vacuum. If we reach that level, we get a Godot course within which we'll provide the building assets we've got, the vehicle assets we've got, which by then we're hoping to be rigged and
Yeah.
hoping to be rigged and ready to go. We'll put in the textures and the soundtrack and the sound effects, almost all of which were made by me in Helm, and hopefully Mike can do some better ones because my VST skills are pretty poor. I don't have the document in front of me. We'll have sections recorded by Bastion. Certainly AI. His modular AI system is incredible so far. Like, he's just put the bare bones in, and there's that bug to get rid of. But it's already
the fact that we're potentially going to have behaviours in there, that's a really useful thing. So we can have...
Well, at the base level, we're talking about state machine.
Yeah.
But we could start tweaking that to be behaviors. And Bastion was talking about things like reactive behaviors. So if you keep attacking one craft, let's say I've got a craft in there called Monster, which is puce with gold flowers on it. Mostly put in because I was dared not to put it in. Let's put it that way.
So you put it in.
Yeah, my girlfriend was saying you can't put that in there. So I was like, I'm putting that in there. It's effectively a pinata, is what that craft is. No one wants to fly it. But if you start attacking it too much, it starts shifting its behavior towards vendetta. It's going to start prioritizing attacking you over winning the race. That's doable with the kind of thing Mikey's putting in there. There's all kinds of other things we can do, but it's essentially, if you pick up a certain weapon, it'll prioritize a certain behavior and go from there. So it's very reactive, it's very low cost, it's a lot of fun. Mikey has just put that doc for me to look at. Great. We're also talking about possibly having Bastion do shaders, because he did the wonderful particle shaders, which is just a first pass, him and me talking in Discord and him saying, well, let's see what I can do. An hour and a half later, we have these customizable particle trails, which are customizable in-game. Basic racing logic, AI opponents, single player, campaign mode, basic customization, paint the ship, pick a color, get a hull, and lots of assets that we include but don't teach. That's the basic package, right? At that level, we're not going to teach you how to make these buildings. We're not going to teach you how to make these races and how to rig them and all the rest of it. It's just like, here's some stuff you can use. Stretch goals include, and we did talk about this last week, extra assets. So we'll include a whole bunch more buildings and props and stuff like that.
And of course, that will come on the back of an actual assets course.
And yeah, so we'll also teach you how to do it. So here's like 3 more hulls and a course on how to make hulls.
Yeah.
And there's a few other stretch goals in there, but that's the base, right? A single long course. I mean, we're talking realistically around 20 to 30 hours. Which is about the size... Easily. I mean, Godot Getaway was about 18 hours, I think. I'd have to check that. It's probably going to be on that length or a little longer. It doesn't have the networking, so it doesn't have that kind of complexity, but there's a lot going on here.
Yes, it's complex in a different manner. It's more game systems than... I mean, networking itself is complex, which Godot Getaway had, and we don't want to repeat ourselves with multiplayer again at this stage.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a different multiplayer game, and multiplayer brings with it a load of complexity anyway. But having... I'll let you finish off with that.
Well, we were talking about split-screen multiplayer, but that would have to be a stretch goal, because even that brings in a bunch of complexity. Because now we have to track, okay, who's getting that information? Like, actually controlling 4 different things or 2 different things on a split screen is very easy. I mean, that's a few lines of code, right? You could do some fun things when you're taking your player inputs. If you have player 1 boost, player 2 boost, player 3 boost, right? Then the command for boost is just player concatenate number. And if I know I'm player 1 and Mikey knows he's player 2, the script will just handle it. It's the same script for both of us. That's easy. Split screen is even easier in Godot because it's just a grid container and it'll just put everything in the right place for you. So you take a viewport container, 4 viewports in a grid container, done. Nice and simple. But game logic suddenly becomes really difficult. well, not really difficult, but you have to redo it from scratch.
Yeah.
So that's a huge thing. Hi, Azrael. Good to see you again. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. There's, as Mikey was saying, there's some extra things we want to add in, but how much do we want to talk about the complexity of stretch goals?
Well, it's one of those things, isn't it? We're quite excited. Let's just say the end game, as it were, would be enough of a funding to actually make it a commercial game.
Yeah.
With associated courses going along with it. Now, obviously, that's going to be an incredibly large stretch goal because you're talking about funding a development team for 2 years
I mean,
minimum.
we did the pricing for this, and it actually sounds insane. Like, it's not out of reach, but when we first say the number, and we probably won't say the number straight away because it will make us sound very greedy. But what we're talking about is 2 people full-time with no other income, with possibly a third
that's the thing. Yeah.
full-time with no other income. In fact, it would be 3, because Basta said if you reach that, I'm in.
Yeah.
But 40% tax, 10% to Kickstarter, hiring in extra assets. Right?
It's amazing how quickly it disappears.
Really quickly. And then you're talking about, research and development time and hiring expertise and all the rest of it.
So we would love to go all out with something like this, but it has to be with the support of the community. Ultimately, we'd want to make a game that people are excited enough about to go for. And if it's not this one, maybe it's the next one that we end up doing. I mean, we're in this for the long haul at the moment, so yeah.
Yeah. And we've been talking internally, like, once we've done the courses, the chances are we're not going to want to put this down straight away. So maybe we just do it as a Patreon and we work on it a few days a week.
Yeah, there are multiple ways. There are multiple ways.
And maybe we do. Maybe we get
that.
sick of it. Like, I think God Gets Away, we could have kept expanding. But I think by the time we got to that point, it's like, no, this feels like a good demo of what this game can be. It's already fun and playable, and there's a great soundtrack and stuff we can do. But this feels solid. And we start seeing things like Jelly Getaway, where Jelly does the whole thing with like
that was
a candy
phenomenal.
theme, and it was great. And little bubble cars and jelly beans everywhere. It's fantastic. I'm really curious to see what he does with this, and I do want to put in a jelly field, which is essentially a mine that slows you down.
You could call it Purple Haze, but
you could. Now that I know how to do refraction in Godot, which was actually a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. Like
lots of fun. So, of course, people have joined the stream since we played it before. Would you like to go through and...
Would you like me to do it, or would you like to do it?
Yes, because I need to nip to the loo. I did not go before we started the stream like a noob.
All right, I see what's happening here. Yeah, fill some air. Okay, so we have a thing.
Let's make that full
let's
screen.
pick a team. Let's take a look at our teams. So we're going to start with Archangel. Now I've changed the way this works. It's just going to rotate one way in the back. I don't know if you guys can see me as well. Can they see me as well?
Yes, you're just to the side, so
that works fine.
Okay,
so
small
Team
head.
Archangel. We have Team Beowulf. We have Daedalus. An open chat so people can tell me what team to pick. We have Hellhound. We have HSC, which is the Helios Systems Corporation, or Security Corporation. We have Monster, Team Pinata. You're so welcome. We have Paladin. I actually struggled a bit with this design. It turns out if you do lots of red and black with crosses everywhere, it starts looking very fascist very quickly. We have Team Rose. We have Team Verm. So, any preferences? What should we fly? I'm going to wait a few seconds for the chat to catch up so people can tell me. I drink my coffee. I'm hoping Jelly Heist has a bunch of music in it too. So, any preferences? Otherwise, I'm just going to pick one. Because I do kind of like Team Verm. Green Dragon is a badass. Okay, I'm picking it. All right, let's begin. So I'm going to disable the AI when we first get in because there's a bug that's going to crash the game. We will bring them back in later. But we have these lovely shields. We have our finish line. We have some pickups. We have these very friendly mines. Yeah, the green dragon is probably the best. I'll go one further. There's my recharge, my lovely refraction effect, which looks awesome.
Hello, hello.
There's Mikey. Is it still jerking?
Only slightly. The jerking, if you're seeing, it's more to do with the stream.
Do you want to run a demo?
Yeah, certainly can. Let me launch Godot. So goodbye, everybody's faces. Goodbye, everybody. And let's launch that up.
I mean, I need the bathroom too, but I can wait 15 minutes as a professional.
2, 1. So hopefully this will be nice and crisp for everybody as well. Let's go back on here. Let's go up to the AI, turn that off. And yeah, hopefully you guys will be able to hear this all right. So yeah, super smooth. Let's see if I can do the pickup. 1.
I mean, I'm watching 30%, 30 seconds after your voice, whatever it is.
Nice. So yeah, hopefully I won't completely... I think... More shield recharge. I know it's random, but it seems like I'm picking it up an awful lot. I do like the effect though, Jan. That is quite sweet.
Yeah. So originally, I got the refraction thing working. It's like, well, let's put that as a shield recharge. Just put a cylinder in, and it looked like you were stuck in a cylinder. So then I went to Blender and I opened up my original file. I simplified the whole thing, got rid of all the detailing and a bunch of the jagged edges, and then just expanded it and exported it again. And then I just changed the texture to just be a refraction with no albedo in it. Here comes Maddie.
Yeah, and we're coming up to the the screen now. Whoosh!
Traditionally, you have to shout "Hi, Maddie" when you pass the statue. I might actually put that statue on the water and make it twice as big. Shockwave.
I think that'd be awesome. Shockwave. So I don't know how good I will be around these final corners, but of course we've also got the game logic in now. I don't know if Jan's already mentioned that. So
I have.
Excellent.
So if you do the final lap, I mean, right now the laps are set to 3. It'll actually tell you the final lap. And if you want, I'd say go around to the final lap and then enable the AI and let them crash the game.
Oh yeah, great idea. So the buildings themselves, that was lots of fun. Shield recharge again. The buildings were really great fun to make. They are just 2 materials. A concrete material and the glass material as well. And it was amazing the difference that made to the game. I don't know, did we add that in last week?
Yeah, we showed that last week. The US choice.
So yeah, I mean things are changing every time we put a new asset in.
Well, yeah, I think the video we had a month ago.
I know, it's so different, isn't it?
And the craft isn't faster, but the game looks so much slower before we have all this detail.
Yeah, it makes a big difference being able to race past something. I mean, I feel like these craft. Another shield recharge.
I mean, dump it and pick something else up.
We'll be doing that in a moment. So as we come up to the straight here, I'll turn on the AI again. And I know that cursor's going to be bugging some people. And I'm a professional troll, so I'm going to leave it there.
Why are you just gifted amateur? So the reason I don't play Payday 2 with Mikey is that Mikey's not a great person to play stealth games with.
I can be.
I was teaching Mikey... No, you can't. I was teaching Mikey how to do stealth runs in Payday 2. I said, okay, we're going to go in with very, very light, just a suit, silence weapons, and no one's going to see us. We're going to do a heist, and it's going to be great. And okay, I'm loaded in. You ready? Great. Let's play start. And Mikey, is that a rocket launcher?
Oh, it didn't last long before the crash, I'm afraid. It's just gone.
No, it's just gone.
Yeah. Yeah, my stealth run, it was a stealth rocket launcher. No one in the shop heard it coming.
No, but all the SWAT teams that came and killed us heard it coming.
I'm never going to live that down, am I?
You'll notice I've not played a stealth game with you since. That's not true, actually. We played Monaco.
That was good fun, actually.
Monica's a great game. So yeah, I think we have, with the beginnings of the logic in and the little sound effects I've been putting in, which is just my voice with a vocoder effect in Audacity, I think it's working well.
Yeah.
I might see if I can. So in Wipeout, there's actually two different two different voices, and one is for when weapons are coming towards you. If someone else has launched mines, you need to know.
Yeah, definitely.
And I might get somebody to record those voices and then have them separate. But at the moment, I think it's working great. And it's actually a lot of fun to fly. If we can get rid of that bug, I might get the alpha build we have, or the pre-alpha build we have now, out to a couple of people so they can play with it, give us some bug testing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, at the moment, there's one big bug, so we need to resolve that.
The one big bug is between 5 and 30 seconds into the game, if you have NPCs on, there's something wrong with the maths and Euclid cries, and then there's no maths.
Not a number is the error, and we're still hunting it down. We're hunting it down.
We'll find it.
And well, hopefully there'll also be a great learning from it as well that we can include in the course.
I mean, a lot of the problems we have is that we're actually going backwards along the curve of the track. So at one point, I was trying to do the logic for who's in first place, and it kept messing up, and I realized, I need to subtract this number.
Yeah, rather than
add it.
It
works fine. Gotta squish that. Hi, BitGamey. Gotta squish that bug.
Yeah. I mean, it's challenging with any development project, and of one this scale as well, with multiple AI. I mean, there's a lot to go wrong, and hopefully it won't be too long before we've sort of squished that one annoying bug.
But already the game is a lot of fun to play, and just flying the craft feels good. And I know we've talked about this a few times. Because we accidentally remembered how Wipeout worked, and I solved a problem that hadn't actually existed, we ended up with a game that actually feels a lot more skillful to fly. Like, our game has a learning curve.
For a start, you can do a handbrake turn.
Yep.
Essentially, you can J-turn. Yeah.
You can see you're taking a corner too tight, and then just strafe out slightly and really hug that corner, and if you get it just right, you'll actually dip under the craft that you're overtaking. Because the way the track is curved.
Very satisfying when those moments
First time that happened, Mikey was just jumping up and down, looking like he was the greatest Magracer of all history.
I was.
Yeah.
At that moment, I was the greatest Magracer of all history.
So there's a lot of fun things there. The weapons feel very satisfying already, even with their simple. I mean, my explosion is just here's a refraction bubble with a particle in it, and it just feels right already with just a simple noise that I generated, a white noise I generated.
Yeah, and there are other things that we can play with, and as always, we're open to suggestions as well. If you like what you see so far or want to see more of something in particular, it's always great to hear. And just as we start iterating more and more things into the game, it just feels more and more complete as we do so.
And we're also learning a lot with this concept of modular being really helpful when we work with multiple people. Because now that I've got that, in fact, I might show my screen.
Yeah,
show
sure.
How the explosion works. I could share my screen.
Strapping, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to code with Jan.
All right, so if I go over to, let's pick a player first. So I'm going to load the level. It's going to freeze for a second, so don't worry about that. That's because of the way curves are generated in Godot. Basically, when you try and bring a curve in, it tries to generate all of the signals, even though it doesn't need to. So here we have our 4 hovercraft. These are all hovercars. Hovercar is a class. This is a player. Player is a type of hovercar. So I'm going to open that scene. And first line, we can see class name player, right? Great. That is a type of hovercar. So I'm going to go into here, and here's this. Now, we have this node, explosion. Explosion is also a class, right? So here we go. In fact, it's not a class, it's just a spatial node. It's a scene you can inherit. But it has this variable called energy. It has a few other things. It has an area to detect with a collision. That collision shape is tiny, right? Absolutely minuscule. We have a mesh instance, which is just a bubble. And right now you can't see it because it's tiny. Like if I bring that out, you should be able to see. In fact, you can't. It's too small. And we have a tween node and an animation player. and I'm getting IMs that I'm enjoying. All right, so here's what's going to happen. First thing, we come in. If we're connected to a hover car of any kind, then I need to connect the signal exploded to its respawn function. Okay, because players have to come back. Everything else should not come back. If I explode a rocket, I don't want it coming back afterwards. That would be bad.
Can that be a new weapon?
Oh god, it's like one of those birthday candle novelty things where you blow it out and it comes back. We also have this is it exploding thing. All right, we're setting the collision shape as energy divided by 2. Why? Because I keep thinking of the energy as diameter rather than the radius, so I just solved that. I also need to clamp that. It needs a minimum size of 0.01. I don't want a collision shape of 0. That causes all kinds of problems. Right? Don't
like
want
black holes.
Yep. But I also have a maximum. The track width is 48 meters. 50 feels good. Like that's my maximum possible thing. So if we have a weapon that explodes further, I don't want it covering the entire track. That's ridiculous. That eventually becomes a nuke. All right. Yes. So if you're not exploding, play the explosion sound. Great. Emit your exploding particles. Let's take a look at them. They go like this.
I've just had a thought.
Great.
It's a dangerous thought. So, if we did have a nuke option, it's like a 1 in 100 chance of getting it or something crazy like that. We could then swap the models for the city out for just skyscrapers with rebar coming out of them. And instead of the sky being a lovely blue...
I don't know that our game... I mean, I know our game's kind of gritty. I don't know that actually committing acts of genocide is part of our game design. Like, let's keep the violence on the track. Yes, it's an artistic decision I haven't made yet. All right. Targets is going to be every overlapping body in the area. All right? And that area is using the energy of the explosion to define its size. So the more energy it is, the bigger the explosion, right?
That makes sense.
Then what we'll do is for every target that's in that array, we can define the angle. Where am I? Where are you? What's the angle between us? I also need to multiply this energy. These craft are very heavy. They're going very fast. If I attack it with 3 newtons of energy, no one's going to notice it. So let's multiply it by 1,000. 3,000 newtons of energy. Now we're going to get pushed. Then we need to actually push it by that push energy multiplied by the angle normalized, right? So whatever that push energy is, let's say it's 3,000. So our normalized angle multiplied by that gives us how much you're being pushed by, or the vector you're being pushed by, so how much and in what angle. We then apply that impulse, and then if that target can be damaged, because not all rigid bodies in the game can be damaged, or not all physics bodies in the game can be damaged. The track, for instance, is a physics body. Well, it's not, but it has collision. But there's things in the game that we might not want it to happen to, so just take them out of the equation. But if it can be damaged, apply damage that is energy, and then show the explosion. Show the explosion is just very simple. Let's just do a tween. I'm doing a tween, not an animation, because I don't know what the end size is. I need to change that at runtime. Animation Player is not great for that. So we're going to go from 0.01 in all 3 axes to whatever the energy is, which is already clamped. And we're going to ease out. So it's going to go faster at the beginning and slow at the end. Finally, when it's all done, emit the signal exploded, if that's connected. Great. If not, don't worry about it. And then remove ourselves. Now, this means that the players, when they respawn, have to generate a new explosion with the right setting on it. Otherwise, you're immortal after you die. This means that any weapon can have an explosion on it.
Which is pretty
mines
awesome.
Work by... Well, I'll show you how mines work. If I go to weapon instances... Mine? Actually, mines are not counted as weapons yet because they're not yet droppable. Where's my mines? Mine.
There it is.
Mine scene. There we go. Great. So, here is a mine. It's little explosion decals and spiky bits and caution high explosive because I was in Substance Painter. All right. So here's
It
what's going to
looks
happen.
like one of my goth friends from the 90s.
I am one of your goth friends from the 90s. Has an energy of 20, right? So every mine does 20 damage. So if you're surrounded by 5 mines and you're in radius of all of them, that's your ship.
You're gone.
Okay, so first thing you're going to do is wait a frame, because otherwise the area spawns in after the parent, it detects itself and blows up. That was a fun bug. Set the area monitoring to true, so don't do anything to roll in. Now turn yourself on. And then if something enters the body, and we're using collision masks, then just tell the explosion, explode. This is set to react to... Doodly-doodly-doo. It is a weapon, and it can react to... Well, weapons can react to certain things. It can react to racers, it can react to other weapons. Okay?
So you can have a cascade, can't you? You can have multiple...
So the way you survive
explosions.
a mine in front of you is just hit the first one and slow down. If you hit all of them at the right speed, you're just going to take 100 damage, and that's your craft. But you hit the first one, you'll take 20 damage, and it'll set all the rest off. If you have a shockwave and someone drops mines in front of you, you can just wipe them out of the way. Right? Because shockwave works by applying damage, and mines can take damage. They just take damage anyway. Because mines can take damage. Here we go. Apply damage, whatever value it is. If it's 1 damage, explode. Mines tend not to be that tough, right? That's the whole point of them. We now have a system whereby missiles can have damage. Anything we like can, right? We can start putting props in by the road. So if we put a billboard, we can say a billboard has damage. You set off a shockwave at this side of the track, the billboard could fall down. Right?
That would be amazing.
Because everything is modular and it's the same logic everywhere, we realize that actually we have this emergent gameplay. We have cascades, we have defense, which we never planned originally. So there's a lot we can do with that. Whew.
I totally want to make a ship now in the goth 90s style. A spiky ship. Mikey's spiky ship.
Mikey's spiky ship. It's mine. I was the goth.
I
Were you
was
a house
not.
kid?
Oh,
What were you in the 90s, mate?
a student. I was at high school.
So old.
Well, for the first half of the 90s, I was at primary school.
Oh. I graduated university in 99, and I had 2 years off between school and college. Well, school and university. So in England, college is high school.
Your stream's still going, by the way. I don't know if you
Is it?
know that. Well, according to Discord, it is anyway.
I didn't think it was. Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Boop. There we go. So, awesome. So, I'm really loving how this is coming on at the moment. What do you guys think of it so far? What do you want? What's not there that you would expect to be there from a game like this? And, yeah. Be good to know.
Team names, weapon ideas.
I mean,
Other
we've got a
posters.
whole long list of things that we want to include in there.
Yeah. I mean, we got new building things we want to put in.
Yeah.
One of the things that's going to make this course longer is we'll probably have to do a section on level design.
Oh, totally. I mean,
Because
you
to
have
make the
to
track
plan this
feel
out.
good, like things of like the statue of Maddie, right? That works because the sun's behind it, and we have this long dip down, this long straight.
And
So it's
we've
a
changed
memorable
the
moment.
field of view of a boost. So there used to be a boost at the top of that track, just as you've coming to approach the statue. And of course, now the field of view has changed slightly. It's been lessened, hasn't it, when you're boosting? But not only that, but there's not a boost at the top there anymore. She was originally put there so that when you boost, you can see her in her full glory.
I mean, I could still put a boost in. I made those pickups. There's pickup holders
yeah.
an hour before stream, so they're still not fully placed.
Yeah. But yeah, things like that really... Don't, Mikey, I left secondary in 95. I forget when I left primary. I think it was 95. Might have been 93. I don't know. I got corrected on by my partner on this the other day. It was It's like, and she's like, no, you're older than you think, Mikey. What age do you start secondary school? Is it 11?
13.
I don't know. I should know this. My children are approaching that age rapidly.
Jelly's my age. Oh, I feel better now. I think Azrael might be as well.
You may or may not have periods of memory loss for some of the 90s.
Yep.
Fair
I mean,
enough.
I don't. I remember all of it, and I did some terrible things.
But there wasn't Facebook back then, so no one has to know.
There's a time and a place for everything. It's college.
Yes. So 11, yes. So I would have gone to secondary school in 94.
94 was when I saw my first concert. It was Rage Against the Machine with Tool opening.
Nice.
I sometimes forget how much older than you I am. So yeah, I think there's a bunch of things we could do. I'm looking forward to seeing what people make. I really want to hit some of these stretch goals because there's some really fun stuff we want to do. But honestly, they take extra time to make and extra resources. Like turning this into a game with modular assets, by which I mean things like clumping bits onto a hull and then painting them and then applying decals.
So would it be fair to say, I remember playing a Need for Speed game, Underground. I think a Need for Speed Underground 2, maybe a decade or so ago, maybe more. And that was a game where you could, you start with your base car, and obviously a car, Magracer, they're kind of synonymous with one another. Providing you've got the basic shapes, you could customize those cars, and they had hundreds and hundreds of assets, but they all bolted onto very specific locations. So again, all of the assets have to be designed with that in mind. So much as Jan was talking about game design, in terms of the overall level, there's almost like a mini game design when it comes to actually putting your modular assets together and making sure they fit in a coherent manner.
Yeah, we're not actually just teaching the coding and the modeling at that point, right? What
It's a
we're
bit more of the
teaching
meta, a bit
the whole
higher level
design,
yeah.
right? The whole let's make the design that works. It's things like when I was placing the pickups down just before stream, and Mikey pulled it and just played it, and he realized on one of the first corners, you can either take the corner tight and go fast, or you can take it slow and pick up a weapon.
Yeah. And that's a gameplay decision, and you may even want to make a corner tighter to make that a binary decision. Because if you're really skilled, you can also, because we've got yaw on the craft, we can push ourselves to the left and the right. It enables us to very easily, if you time it right, to cut the corner at full speed. But you may want to make that more of a hairpin, in which case that's not going to be an
that's
option.
interesting because our track isn't flat, right? It's it's a
bowl.
trench. It's a bowl. Which means if you're going at that speed, you're actually going to be angled at a different speed, which has an impact on your collision, but it also has an impact on your repulsion.
Yeah.
Because your repulsion is being detected from the angle here. You're pulsing from the bottom of the craft.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I'd really love to do in the game, and I don't know how feasible this is. I mean, I know everything's possible, but is to actually have some affordance over your height in the game. But that has loads of knock-on effects by how the energy to the Magracer is done. So one of the things is you get your energy from the track. If you disappear off the track, which is very hard to do,
or
but if you disappear off the track,
which is easy to do.
Yeah. You lose power. But it would be interesting to have a mechanic where perhaps you lowered yourself down to the ground, thus increasing your power.
I mean, I did play with it.
But if you hit the ground, you just go flying off straight away.
This is the problem. When you hit the ground, one, you take damage. Two, you stop going forward. Like, well, you don't stop going
It's
forward.
a risk reward at that point, though, isn't it? If you can go faster by being lower, but your chance of knocking yourself out.
Well, I found it just made the game too difficult to fly.
Yeah.
Because it's actually quite difficult at that speed to see what the track is going to do in the next moment. Like, there's plenty of times you're playing the game, you just hit the ground for a moment.
Yeah.
If that's constant, that's very difficult. What we could do is a jump.
Yeah. You could you could change your forward velocity into vertical just to get rid of a missile coming underneath you.
I mean, there's lots of things we could play with, including a spin. But yeah, I think that's a good place to to finish off.
Maybe
Some of these ideas, yep. Well, okay, so someone on the God of Facebook group said they'd like to be able to control their up and down, or they said it was too high, they want to go down. And the problem with this is we're actually simulating the physics. So when you stop, you'll notice the craft is doing this, right? Now, every single Wipeout game has that, but theirs is an animation. Ours is not. Ours is, it's actually the closer you to the track, the harder it's pushing you away. And the track is curved, so it's constantly adjusting. Right? It's actually sitting on a magnetic
field. You get the natural oscillation.
If you lower that strength,
you just hit the ground all the time.
You hit the ground all the time, or you bounce and keep losing power.
We made it like that, didn't we? With oh.
Yeah, and it became really annoying.
Yes, Jelly says it needs a rocket launcher.
I mean, it's on deck. I need an asset. Well, we were talking about making a homing missile, but that needs AI. A simple forward rocket. We need an asset. We need 2 sound effects. We need a basic script.
Oh, now there's an exciting thing. So if we include something, and this is a knock-on effect again, if we include something like a missile, where's it coming from on the craft? Does that mean all of the ships should have a missile pod? So when you actually fire the missile, you see something physical open on the craft, and then the rocket fire off from it. That would be really cool. I'm going to do that, of course.
Careful, because now you need to do it with mines as well.
Mine?
Mine.
That can just go bloop at the bottom of the craft.
Yeah, the mines are bigger than the craft.
It's
like if you're going to put in...
I'm going to record the sound effects with a balloon. Deploying mine.
Deploying yours. That's what we do. When you launch it, it says mine. When someone else launches it, it says yours.
Oh dear.
I mean, yeah, we could do it that way. We could also do things that attach to the craft.
An unshakable mine.
Well, no, a little thing that attaches just at the bottom of the behind the craft that looks like it's a.
Oh, so as you fly through it, it suddenly attaches the rockets or whatnot to it. Oh, that's good affordance as to what the player in front has or the player behind has, because you'll physically be able to see their.
But we're
ship.
now massively complicating what this looks like. Like, this is a stretch goal. This is not where we are now.
So these are the conversations
now you
that
start putting in different hull shapes.
Yeah.
And suddenly every single weapon needs to fit every single craft. So rocket launcher doesn't need that. It needs 2 sound effects. It needs a sound effect of a voice going rocket, because that's part of a weapons class. It must have that sound effect. It has a sound effect of what happens when it fires, which in this case will be a looping white noise with lots of bass. Well, you don't need to do that bit. You need wee, because Doppler effect. Doppler effect is in game.
I'm definitely not playing with that after the stream.
I need an adult.
Oh, it's a real shame. So I've cleared out the garage slightly because I'm in my garage, and there was a canister of helium just up there. So I could... I could have grabbed it.
But yeah, rocket launcher's on deck. I need to make the mines a weapon. I have regrets. I think he might have done it, mate. Mikey, this is great TV.
Sorry about that. I just had to go to the cupboard over there for a moment.
Ah, dear.
Are you alright, mate?
No, I just had a load of helium.
Feel better?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I think it's my turn for the brain cell. Like, we have one between us. We're basically like the 3 crones in the cave that Perseus goes to see, who will share an eye. We're like that, but there's 2 of us and it's a brain cell. Like, we just take turns at
Sorry, as soon as I saw it, I was like, it's still there, it's still there.
So yeah, we have some weapons in. The weapon system is built such a way that it should be modular. If we ever get that asset repository, which needs a better name, built in, it should actually be possible for you guys to design weapons and then share them.
That'd be awesome.
At which point this starts looking a lot more like Worms than Wipeout, because I'm expecting things like the exploding sheep and a rubber hammer.
Oh no!
Watch this. There's one thing that I did a few weeks ago that I didn't talk about, and I think this is going to be my final fun trick I did. The collision for the ships is a simple cylinder, right? It's much quicker. It takes far less resources. But the problem with that is if you hit a wall, you just get stuck on the wall, right?
Yeah.
Or you get spun out really, really fast. The speed we're going at, if you hit it at anything other than sideways, you hit the front and then you would just spin wildly. I didn't find it too much of a hassle because I wrote the game, so it was easy for me to compensate. But everyone who picked it up was just like, this is unplayable. So, when you hit a wall, two things happen. One, it dampens your angular velocity by 90%.
Mm-hmm.
So you go from really, really fast to you can barely turn. And then that interpolates down. Right?
It made the game far more manageable.
So what happens is for a second, you stop spinning, and then it comes back over another second. And you don't notice that difference. The second thing I did was I added a physics material to all craft, and all craft are basically rubber. So when you hit a surface at speed, you'll bounce off it.
Really useful.
Which, when you've got this we're using energy shields thing, feels right? You hit a wall and you bounce off the wall, as opposed to I'm stuck on the wall.
Yeah.
So the long and short of it is, rubber is fun. This feels like a very different kind of live stream.
Yes. Magracer, Latex Edition.
Director's cut. It's your turn to be the adult. All right, I think that's a good place.
I do as well. But we'll open up the floor to any final questions, comments, suggestions, and we'll give it 30 seconds.
Dances. There was a video about Adam Neely about why that track is way weirder than people think. And it's really fascinating. It talks about like the politics of bossa nova and samba, and it's just fascinating.
That is a fantastic. Yeah, I love Adam Neely. I just watched his most recent one, which is very interesting, on how all music is compared to Western music.
Oh yeah, I watched that. In fact, I showed it to somebody, and they got very angry by the basic premise, and we ended up having a row about it.
Yeah, just looking at the like-to-like dislike ratio on his videos, it's usually like 99%.
Is there a Kickstarter launch date? Yes. Yes, end of the month.
That's what we're shooting for.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else?
Not reading that I am.
Yoda, you speaking?
I'm good as long as I never have to be the adult. That's fine. Jelly, you never have to be the adult.
No.
Yeah, so the goal is, and the reason we've been working so hard, is we want to launch this by the end of September. I think we're actually on track to do that. Like, at this stage, we can start talking about writing copy. Like, we have a functional demo that's fun to play and look at. We don't have any music yet. There's some weapons things missing. There's a bug, but honestly, as long as we know that we can fix it, we can edit around it right now.
Hey, what AAA game doesn't come with a bug that needs to be fixed on day one launch?
I don't know. What AAA game does come with a bug that doesn't need to be fixed on launch?
Almost all of them. So it's fine. And some of them really are game-breaking bugs as well, so the fact that we're saying, hey guys, we've got a bug, far more honest than a lot of the developers.
And frankly, is there a page that I can set a reminder to when it goes live? I mean, subscribe to this channel, because we'll talk about it on stream.
Yeah.
And we'll probably do what we did last time. We had a Kickstarter, which was to go, when's this launching? Now. And then we pressed the launch button now. And it was very disappointing.
Yeah, definitely.
I pressed it late.
Was it one of those things that says, "Are you sure you want to do
Yeah.
this?" But you'd already, like last week when I thought I had ended the stream, and I was like, "Nope, it's on the screen saying, are you sure you want to end the screen?" Muppet. Off.
Yep, there was a Muppet button.
There was a Muppet button. So yeah, we will tweet it on our Facebook, on our Discord, here. We will announce it here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, because we need to raise some money for this in the middle
Yeah,
of the
of
pandemic.
course.
It's fine.
It'll be fine, yeah. It's all fine.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what you guys make.
The website, I hope our website isn't dead. Google still works, but that's not what I was looking for.
www.canopy.games. Nope, works fine.
Yeah. Let me... where did I just put that? Oh, there it is. So, yeah. Make sure you've got the www there as well. And then, yeah.
Link needs updating on the stream. What did you do on the stream? You know when you told me you had to put www on it?
Yeah.
You didn't do it in the stream description.
Oh, on the description. The description on live videos is very difficult.
Is it?
But yeah, that is worthwhile me at Canopy Games. It definitely says www. It probably hasn't done it correctly, but I'll fix that anyway afterwards as well. And I'll try and work out how you do that. It doesn't let you put... It doesn't let you put descriptions in normally with paragraphs and stuff, so there we go. Right. So yeah, we will...
Rocky.
We will...
We shall. Yeah.
We will.
We
Okay.
shall rock a bit.
Oh. Right, before we descend into complete anarchy, I think it's time to say goodbye. I've been me, you've been you, he's been him,
Three dragons
and
are
we've
awesome.
got a dragon. So thank you everybody for joining us this evening, and we shall see you again same time next week.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.